All right. Got a phone call from a friend. Good to have friends. It's a friend. I'm in my hometown, born in Fayetteville. My son was born in Fayetteville. My dad was born in Fayetteville. We go back about 90 years, a little over 90, I think. The woods I love are right there. The earth I love. Anyway, yeah, I've known that friend. He moved here from Berryville when he was third grade. Was that 10? So 55 years. We were talking about another friend I've known since first grade, about 60 years. I have another friend that sometimes we all get together. I've known him since kindergarten. I remember talking to him about kindergarten. I said, I went to Mrs. Brown's, I went to St. Joseph School one day with my older brother, kindergarten. Mrs. Heckle was the lady's name. Not very nice, kind of warm milk and graham crackers, kind of not very tasty. And the very next day, went to Mrs. Brown's. They're both on Lafayette. But went to Mrs. Brown's, which is about 4 blocks west. Just a sweet lady, kind of a hippie lady. That would have been 63, 64. But a great thing for me instead of the structure and of the Catholic kindergarten. I've known people who go to Catholic schools and a lot of structure, and they don't mess around. And what did my friend say? He went to New York schools. About 3 different nuns would hit him in 3 different ways: slap his wrist this way, slap this, or hit that. Anyway, different types of punishment, but punishing, and a lot of guilt in the Catholic church. Be 6 years old and you're supposed to feel guilty, or 10 years old. So a lot of the friends that I have that have had some Catholic upbringing, I don't think it did them any good. All this self guilt, self questioning. God made this for us. God made us a heart and a brain, and or the Great Spirit, or the Creator, or whatever you want to call it. Even if you don't call it anything, we have our own mind, our own heart. And I think intuitively we know what good and evil is, or what right and wrong is, and what we should do and how we should treat each other. I don't think we need to be taught that as much as just to realize that in ourselves. And we can look at other people and go, man, that's a good person. Look what they're doing. We kind of know, okay, that's good. What they do is good. I want to do something good like that. Hopefully that happens. I've watched a lot of Christopher Hitchens in the last couple of months. Really smart. He was an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I guess agnostic. Agnostic means you don't know. You're not sure. And so I guess I'm an agnostic, but I don't even want to think about it or talk about it. I just want to live and enjoy and try to understand life. Why talk about something beyond life? It's just not a big part of me. But Hitchens would have debates against some of the Catholic leaders, and he just tear them up because of all the history, the horrible history of religion and the Catholic Church, and a lot of judgment and hatred. And he had a friend that was gay, and he got angry about how they're treating. You're saying that my friend's going to hell. You're saying my friend can't join your club because he's gay. Just a lot of anger, and I understand that. We're good, you're bad. You have to do it this way, or you're no good. Who is it? Alito, the Supreme Court justice, that said Roe versus Wade was egregious from the start. Egregious. It was a bad, terrible decision for 50 years until Smarty Pants, Alito, Catholic, came along and said, there's nothing in the Constitution about abortion. And pretty soon, these conservatives may say there's nothing in the Constitution about contraception. They take away your contraception. Against abortion, against contraception. So they want you to have a baby, and even if the baby's born in poverty, they're not going to help. They're not really helping alleviate poverty. They're not, you know, this is the Republican conservatives that cut taxes on the rich and cut benefits for the poor. So you're going to have these people having babies that are poor. So you don't care if the baby grows up in poverty in a really bad place, in a really bad life, as long as it's born. But to be against abortion and against contraception, I think that's just, I don't know the word. Inhumane. I'll use that word. It's inhumane. Yeah. Talk about judgment, judging others. Nothing about global warming in the Bible or in the Constitution. What do you say about that? Anyway, I was really glad my friend called. Good to have connections. This is kind of a lonely world. We're supposed to fight for ourselves, fight for our own little family. That's hurt my family, alcoholism, but also fighting for money. Everybody looking after themselves. But that's the culture of the world in a way. So it's good to have friends where money doesn't mean anything. But I guess I got off track, which I do. So I'm talking to my friend and saying, yeah, I went to Mrs. Brown's on Lafayette. And he goes, well, I went to Mrs. Brown's on Maple Street, the street just to the north. And I said, Jim, there wasn't two Mrs. Browns in 1964. There was only one Mrs. Brown's, and it was on Lafayette. And I think that's true. But I think I've known him since for 60 years. And yeah, all these friends, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect for sure. I've got my junk with me, my shit with me, my weaknesses and mistakes, and so do they. So hopefully your friendships can help you through life and appreciate humanity and connection and help each other through the good and enjoy the good together and help each other through the hard times because they come. So I'll close this up, this I Ching that I was looking at before the phone call. But I'm going to read this part I really like. So we're on sovereignty. Furthermore, your personal relationships, although lacking in passion, are well ordered. What does that mean, lacking in passion? Here, too, you hold the position of sovereignty, and if you are kind and unselfish, your relationships will flower. I like that. If you are kind and unselfish, your relationships will flower. See, I like just reading that for myself to remind me, yeah, kind and unselfish. I need to be kind and unselfish. And for all sorts of reasons, including relationships, but not just that. So this is a beautiful thing from Haiti. My brother was a Marine embassy guard in Haiti. This just knock you out. Oh, beautiful, man. I love this. This is my brother. This is Tommy. And what happened once was my parents were going to go down to Port-au-Prince with my brother and his girlfriend, but my father was drinking so much he couldn't do it. And this is probably in the 80s. So their tickets went to me and my girlfriend. So me and my girlfriend and my brother Trent and his girlfriend went down to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. We stayed at the embassy for a couple of nights. Then we went to a small villa, I think that's what you call it. in a small town outside of Haiti, outside of Port-au-Prince. Now, Port-au-Prince, 1 million people. That's so sad, gigantic. A lot of it like a ghetto, just shanties and no running water. It's just sad, the inhumanity over the years. Why hasn't that been? Why hasn't life been improved for Haitians? I mean, they've been used and abused by colonial powers and other powers since then, but it just make you cry. Uh, but what I do remember is going through the city, and this guy, the French guy, was driving his Jeep, kind of fast. And there were a lot of people around, and I remember this one lady just kind of barely getting out of the way, and I'm thinking to myself, if he hit her, we're not stopping. Everybody was Haitian, everybody was black except us, and I could just tell, okay, yeah, if he hit somebody, we're not stopping, and that really felt uncomfortable. I would take this sometimes when we studied, what would we study? Colonialism, maybe, in my classes, and I'd ask them, this is from Haiti. It should look more like Native Americans. It doesn't. It looks African. And why is that? Because all the native Haitians died in the sugar plantations. And so the slaves that were imported, I think most Haitians today trace their roots back to Africa because of the tragedy. Anyway, Linda Fairstein kills. It's a murder mystery, I guess. So when we're in Haiti, we're at this little villa. There's only 3 couples. Me and my girlfriend, Trent and his girlfriend, and this other couple, and then the guy that owns the place, who had a Jaguar. I mean, the cat. So when we would go out sometimes to a beach in his boat, he would bring this cat on a chain. I think it was maybe to scare the Haitians, knowing that he had this cat in his villa. I don't know. It's just weird. Beautiful water, beautiful fish. I snorkeled. My brother scuba dived. But you'd have this dichotomy of a gigantic, inhumane ghetto for 1 million people, and then surrounded by a beautiful island waters. But anyway, so there's 3 couples, and we're sitting around this big table for dinner, probably 3 or 4 nights. The other couple was a French guy who I didn't think too much of, wasn't very friendly. But his girlfriend was Linda Fairstein, chief, let me see, the district attorney in the Sexual Crimes Division of the Manhattan District Attorney, something like that. Chief, anyway, she worked on some horrible cases like Son of Sam, and some other cases, like one that happened in a church. I don't want to even talk about, just too horrible. But she had to deal with some of the worst things in the world that happen. And then this person has to go in and convict the people that did it, which would take a toll on you. So I'm glad she was getting away and enjoying her life before she went back to trying to put people behind bars that did some of the worst crimes ever. This is in the 80s, maybe early 80s. But this is before what was it called? Central Park 6? 6 young teenagers wrongly convicted of raping a woman and sentenced to jail for forever, and they finally got out because they were wrongly convicted. Maybe DNA evidence helped. And another guy that was already in jail for rape was actually the one that did it. And people hate her now, or hated her because she helped push it through, but I'm sure, I don't know. I'm sure she had a boss, and the boss, and the people said, we're going to get these people. We need to wrap that. We need to find the perpetrators. We need to lock them up. We need to, make New York safer and help save our jobs. Or I don't know exactly how it went down, but yeah, she was one of the main people that helped put these people in jail, and the young men that were, maybe didn't get to see their parents and talk to them or have a lawyer, or were interviewed for over 24 hours, or a long period of time where they did confess, and then they went back and said, no, I don't confess. But the tragedy, just a tragedy all around in so many different ways, just a tragedy. And yeah, I'm sorry, because I liked her and she was nice to me. I'm sorry it happened more than anything to the lady that was raped and beaten, but that was by a different guy who died in jail, I think. But sorry for the Central Park Six that went to jail for decades after doing, after not doing the crime that they were convicted of. So it's just sad, but that's just part of my life. I just wanted to relate my Haitian story, and my brother was a kind person, and I remember hearing some of the guys, the Haitian, one Haitian guy at the embassy, I believe, saying, Trent number one Marine, Trent number one Marine. That was pretty cool. And then one time there were some children, and Trent was talking to the children, and he was saying something in Creole. Is it called Creole? A mixture of Haitian and French? I don't know. But they were laughing, they were goofing around, he was laughing, they were laughing. And I asked him, I said, what were you saying? And he said, he was telling them, you're white and I'm black. You're white, I'm black. And they just thought, this guy's crazy, and thought it was funny. So I just, I felt good about that. My family's got a lot of issues, but we've always liked to laugh, even laugh at ourselves, which is really important. So that was good. That was being a good human being and representative of America, a good representative. Can I pause this? I don't think I can. I don't think I can pause this. But I'm going to grab something. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to stop after I talk about this. So, understanding or knowing about the past. This is my Ukraine hat. Go Ukraine! They're a democracy. They have their issues. I've read enough about it. They're not perfect. But they're being attacked by a dictator, Putin. And Trump, for some reason, the Republican leader, is buddies with all these dictators. Hungary, North Korea, Russia, who else? Well, he says he doesn't like China, but he'll take a lot of money from them at his hotels and such. Saudi Arabia, his son-in-law got $2 billion for a fund. Anyway, so you got all these kind of bully guys that are trying to take over and just be the boss and hurt whoever they don't like and consolidate their power. Just like, if we're in a world where money is consolidating, well, that power is consolidating, and you're going to get these dictators. So if you don't want that, then you better work and vote for a society and governments that are democratic and believe in spreading out power and decentralizing power. So anyway, this is my Ukraine hat. I don't have a car, but I have a bicycle. So I ride my bicycle a lot. I decided to get some of these hats. They're only like $5 a piece. So I have one, let's see, France and Italy. it might have been during COVID, but I started watching the Tour de France. And it was just interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, just the highlights, but just amazing. 28 days. These guys racing, I don't know, 90 miles for almost 28 days straight. And yes, some of them have been using drugs which to make it easier, which is, horrible. But not, most of them are not. Most of them are just hardcore, man, let's do this. Let's push myself to the limit. And that's always good. You can, try your best at a bicycle race or try your best at being a husband or a father or a citizen or a mother or a teacher, whatever. Rise to the occasion, this temporary occasion that we all have. So, to make a short story long, after I got out of teaching, the last couple of years, I've been wanting to read more about American history, colonial history, the Constitutional Convention. You can only learn so much, and that's been my focus. But I'm going to talk about two books. I love this book. What's his name? David? David Hawk? Sorry. David Hawk. The Colonial Experience. Really good. It's really good. 700 pages, something like that. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And the good thing about this is it starts, if you want to study America, you can't just study America. You have to go before that. And yes, if you're going to do it the right way, you have to study the First Nations, the Native Americans, and learn about them. And we would do that in my class. Luckily, that was our first or second chapter. And we would do projects on Native American. You'd pick a tribe and teach each other about the tribes. It was awesome. It helped me learn. But what do we got? The Age of Discovery. What's that, 1500s? Probably around the 1500s. Background for settlement. The Great Migration begins. Is that the 1600s? I'm not sure. Anyway, what's good about this is it predates colonial America. So you're talking to the 1500s. So you're learning about what's happening in the beginnings. And also, I don't know if it's so much on this one or the other one I'm going to show, but you have the French and the British and the Dutch and the Spanish and the Native Americans. You have all these different societies basically fighting each other, and the natives fighting for their lives or fighting for their land that's being taken from them by people that say, this land is the king's. And the natives are going, what do you mean it's the king's? We've lived here thousands of years. Well, no, now it's the king's. We're Christians and you're not, and you're animals, and we're here to civilize you. Just insanity. The insanity of the beginnings of America. Some of the right wing, like Ron DeSantis in Florida, don't say that. You can make white kids feel bad. Well, I don't know. I don't feel bad about it. This happened long before I was born. I feel bad it happened. I think it was wrong that it happened. But to say it's going to make me feel bad, we should never teach any type of history because human beings do the history. And if it makes you feel bad, that made Tommy feel bad. When you talked about World War II, because people were mean to each other. We shouldn't make kids feel bad by teaching the truth. Yeah, it's a way to get votes. It's a way to, instead of talking about inequality in the environment, they'll make up something that'll try to get you in the heart. It's a joke. Makes you bad citizens because you don't talk about the real things that are important. Anyway, David Hawk, The Colonial Experience. I really liked it. This might have been 2 years ago. I forget. This is maybe the first one I really read that got me into it. It talks about the different types of colonies, um, and it's interesting to see who went to Maryland and who went to Massachusetts and who went to Connecticut and who went to Pennsylvania and who went to New York. And they're all different. Let's say, oh, the American experience. They're all different. Each colony was different. South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and just to see that, to understand how diverse. Yeah, the Native American tribes were diverse. I believe there's a documentary called 500 Tribes. And these aren't people that could speak to each other. They had different languages, different cultures. So there's a diversity of Native American tribes and a diversity of the colonial experience. Anyway, I recommend that highly. And then the next one I think I read was A New World, an epic of colonial America from the foundings of Jamestown to the fall of Quebec. Not the best title. Not the best title. But a good book. Arthur Quinn. A really good book. Not quite 700 pages. 500. Still weighty. And a lot of this, I got a little bored when they were talking about Canada more. The French in Canada and the French and British fighting over Canada. But I also got tired of the massacres. So many massacres. And this involved the French, the British, Native Americans, the French and the British trying to get different tribes on their side, and some of the tribes playing the French and the British against each other to see, who paid more. I think the French paid. What they liked about the French was the French wanted to trade. They didn't really want to live there. The British wanted to come and take land. So that was one thing different about those two. But just the horror of these massacres that are our history, and even cannibalism after cooking people. You just and torture. Yeah, I read that book, but some of the book I skipped because I got tired of that. I got tired of the detail of some of the torture or massacres or cannibalism. It was rough. Some of the truth is so rough that you can't hardly take it, and I'll admit that. I'm going to show you some other books later, but what I'm looking at now, The Creation of the American Republic, Gordon Wood. Gordon Wood, one of the best American history writers. It's heavy. You have to go slow. And like I say, I'm country. I'm from Arkansas, so don't tell me, oh, I can't read that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can read that kind of stuff. You'll have to read it slow. So do I. You have to go slow, and sometimes you'll have to look up words. I think I was reading Norman Mailer's Some Honorable Men. Was that it? About political conventions in the 60s and early 70s. And some of his words I didn't know, so I had to have a dictionary to look up, what does that word mean? What does that word mean? Well, that's okay. It's okay to learn words. But unless it's scientific, where there's all sorts of words that you'll never know, like microbiology or organic chemistry. But most of these words you understand or you can understand, and just go slow. If you're not interested in the colonial era, that's okay. Read something else. But education is a great path. Not everything's on the internet. Thank God. And as they said, follow your bliss, enjoy yourself, whether it's art or this or that. Maybe you're interested in the Roman history or Chinese history or or Nigerian history, or the Peruvian history. Everybody's got a good story, interesting story. Every individual, every place. And to appreciate it more deeply, to understand it more, we read about it. You can watch documentaries, you can watch things, and that's good too, I guess. But I think just being quiet and reading, I recommend it. Alrighty, it's almost 11. It's probably 4 degrees. I think snow at 1. I want to do this again when the snow's falling because it'll be pretty. I want to show you. Because where I live right now is very pretty. I've only lived here a couple months. And where I'm coming from was an old house of a friend's that gave me good rent, but it was an old house. And the pipes are frozen now. Where I lived last winter, those pipes are frozen. So that's one thing. It's kind of new for me to be at a place, that gets 0 degrees, and I can flush the toilet, and I can get clean water. Because the last 3 winters I've had to leave. And this is kind of funny. Last winter it got so cold, the pipes froze, so I went to a friend's house and stayed with him for a while. And he's dropping me off close to the house. I can see the house, but the driveway's a little iffy. So I just said, man, let me out here. This is fine. So I get out of the car and I said, then I hear running water. And he drove off, and my pipes had busted. So my pipes had frozen, so I left. Then when I get back, my pipes had busted, and the water was running out. So that was last winter. And I'm so happy and thankful, grateful. Be grateful if you got to eat today, and you're warm today, safe today. Be grateful, and let's try to help everybody, have a good meal and a good home and be safe. I vote for that.